Hi guys, it's me Karen, and we are working on World Within Worlds, and I'm doing part 2 of one of the pictures I'm working in, and we are doing it with distress inks, and we're using the technique of using it as a watercolor. So I've got 3 colors here today. I have Gathered Straw, Vintage Photo, and Walnut Stain. So this is kind of a yellow, yellowish brown, like a yellow ochre. This is a reddish brown, more like a, not going to say terracotta, but close. It's got some red tones in it, and walnut brown, of course, is like your dark brown, very deep dark brown. Okay, so we're going to use these 3, and we're doing the kitty cat here. So we're going to be doing the building and of course the pyramids, kind of trying to get them all kind of the sandy color, which is why we're bringing in the scattered straw, and the highlights will be done in the other 2 colors. So we're going to get a base coat down and probably add some of these in. I've also got out a green tone and a purple tone in case I wish to use those. So this is peeled paint, and this is shaded lilac. Okay, so we're just going to do like we did yesterday. Try to make more room on my desk, scooting the pencils over, which don't want to go anywhere. We're going to take the ink just as is and smush it down on my little cutting board that I got at the dollar store. So I'm going to put the walnut stain down here. You'll notice that is a very dark color, if you can see it. Almost, I call it a brown black. The scattered straw is a ochreish type color, and like I said, this is a red, so maybe a Tuscan red color. So that's our palette. Okay, scoot these over. I may have to reapply those is what I said, even though I kind of mushed my words together. We're going to get my little paintbrush wet. This is the same paintbrush I used yesterday, number 4 silver black velvet paintbrush. We're going to go in to our scattered straw here and just put a touch of I'm going to turn this so I don't stick my arm right in all that. I'm good at that too. So we're just going to kind of put our scattered straw in here. Make sure it's nice and wet. You just kind of have to pick and choose where you want it, and where you're going to want your shadows. The more water we put on this, the lighter it will be. The less water, of course, the darker it will be. We kind of want to make it this color our highlight color. So we don't want to go too dark with it. Make sure we keep our water coming in. This book takes water pretty well, but you'll notice that the page is a little warped here. It's because I wet these 2 corners and didn't get the center wet. So you'll have a bit of a warping going on there until the rest of the page gets the water. So just keep applying it to where you want to have some light color, because we'll go in with the other colors and darken it up. I did crack up yesterday when I was doing the picture here. We got their kitty, and this here's a puppy dog coming right out of its fur. Kind of doing a downward dog pose if you're into yoga. Okay. Leaving some white areas because I'm gonna want some highlight bright ones. I'm not quite sure what to do with the rocks in the background, but I'm going to get them wet at least, so the paper will lay down just a bit flatter there. Okay, and then we have to get the pyramids down here too. So we want to pick a lighted side, and that would probably be there. And then over on this side, something like that. And then some on our sand here. We have something down here. There. Okay, that's our yellow. If we have any of that yellow, we'll pick it up in the vintage photo. We're going to be careful with this one. It can get really dark real fast. But we want to put some of this in, kind of in the shadow areas. Kind of in some of these recessed areas on the rocks on this side. Around this little guy's face where it's deeper cut into the stone. And we can bring in some of that walnut stain down into these really dark areas. Now, depending on how detailed you want to get with your ink is how much you're going to put down on this. You can do a lot of this shading with your pencils. But I might as well get a little bit of it down while I'm here. So it's a lot of little detail work, but it'll be worth it in the end. Get a little extra water on that. Okay, I'm kind of just mixing the two off camera here. Let's try to put it on this side. So I'm bringing some of that walnut over with some of the vintage photo and making sure that they're wet and getting a mid-tone just to put down. A little more water there. Darken up that rock back there. And we'll get this rock back here too. Okay. Anything else I want to get dark in here? Gonna do it kind of quick. The more water I put on the page, the more problems I'm gonna have. Okay, and then the back side. Of our pyramids here. All right, that'll do for the inking. And then I have to let it dry. Okay, it's mostly dry up here. This still has to dry down here, so we're just gonna work up here for a little bit. I'm gonna use the same browns that I kind of used over here I might even bring in a tiny bit of the Loganberry, which, if you haven't been able to tell, is my favorite color. So we're going to go in and we're going to start off with the lightest color, and that is the pale brown. And it kind of matches a little of these colors that I had already brought in. So we're just going to lightly go over that and bring that color in here too. Kind of leaving the center part of these items that are out farthest the lightest. At least I'm going to try. It doesn't sometimes work that way, but that's what I'm aiming for. This will also cover up any where the ink didn't show up. It's the same as if you're watercoloring, at least if I'm watercoloring. It doesn't lay down like acrylic paint or anything. It's not that smooth. It has its own way of going since you've added water to it, and the ink likes to travel. So you will have some places that aren't as close to the edge of the line that you want, but at the same time that gives it its character, and that's kind of what I like. And since I'm showing you how to use it as watercolor, show you the good effects of it. I'm just going on one side of this and darkening it up. Now it won't go over this color here, obviously, because this shade of pencil is more close to the scattered straw. Even if you press really hard, it is not going to go over that darker color. So we'll just do that with a different pencil. Okay, we can add in some little details. Like that would be carved in a little further than the rest of him, along with this area here. Little lion guy. Okay, add some down in here. Darken up this side of its face a little. Of course, I am doing this farther away than I normally am, so it's hard for me to see the little tiny details, so I'm just kind of laying a little bit of the color down where it looks like it needs to be. Kind of quickly. Working our way down here. Okay, then we're going to pick up a darker color, and this one's just brown, but it'll be a little darker, so I can put it on the edge a little heavier than, or a little darker than the other color. Just kind of find a place you like it, put it down harder, and then just lighten it out. We have more darker colors, more darker. Boy, I sound like a 2-year-old there. more darker colors to put on the page. Darker colors, darker. We have the brown black, which we're going to go into the darkest areas here. So don't put too much pencil down in those areas. I find these pencils like a couple of layers, not a whole lot. So when we want to do those dark ones, leave it for the darkest color. Don't want to blend it in too much with that. I want kind of a reddish brown. I don't know about the Loganberry though, but my favorite color, so we're going to add a little in there. Just to give it some extra oomph there. Brighten it up a little bit. Just in a couple areas. It's one of those you can see, but you really can't see it type colors. Okay. Then we're going to go in with the, well, I'm going to mix the two. I'm just going to go back and forth between the brown black and the brown. So I think a little brown needs to go on that just to dull it down a bit. We have a statue here. Need to give him a little color. And then back in with the black, brown. So how is everybody doing? Hope everybody's well. Our 4th of July was loud. Where I live, we have a reservation up the hill, so it's a legal place to buy and light off fireworks. up there. But of course, if they're selling them, everybody down here will buy them and bring them home. And when they do that, of course, they like to have a nice little firework area in their own yard. Not that I have anything against that. It's loud. My cat doesn't like it, so he hides underneath my bed all night. Won't come out. And if they stop at a decent hour, I got no problem with it. The problem is sometimes they just don't stop, and I'm listening to it till, 2, 3 in the morning, and they are not quiet. They are the loud, sound like they're blowing up a building type things. Fortunately, the city doesn't allow you to blow them up within city limits. So if they go too long or too loud or look dangerous, you will get cited for it. So the younger kids who like to buy the louder ones that, well, I don't even know if they make M80s. When I was a kid, those were the loud ones, but now they make even louder ones than that. And I like to drive around their car and throw them out the window. Not cool in my book. So we had a couple of those instances. So you hear the fireworks go, and then you hear sirens go. Kind of hard to figure out who's who. But I could sit in my spare room window and look out and see all the neighborhood being lit up by pretty fireworks. The ones that go up in the sky and do their thing. Okay, I need a lighter color. A light beigey that's not going to overpower that. So I'm going to bring in a cream, and we're going to lay some of that down in the lightest areas so it doesn't look white. Just kind of going over everything. So anywhere I didn't get any color will be covered up with a little bit of color. Okay, this is dry enough down here, so we can add some into that. We still haven't touched the rocks up there. We're just doing the building. That little doggy. Okay, I'll go over the pyramids. Just kind of blend that in a little bit. And then we'll add some of the brown black down here. This area is being shaded by the cat and the building. I'm going to get the camera down so we can get a little closer look at this. Okay, I got you down in this area because I'm going to work on this little guy here. And I'm going to bring in some ochre. Just going to match that straw real well, the gathered straw. Put some of that color on this little guy here. You can see that, right? So now I can get down here closer. I can get a little bit of detail in here. See how much you can see. Just scoot it over. I'm kind of running along the ground and then lightening it coming up. So blend all that in. So the ochre's got this nice kind of gold color to it. So if you just run it across gently, you get a real nice light glow. And if you put more pressure on it, you get more of that nice golden, at least with all the colors I have here, it looks golden. Color. Then we're going to go over with a mid terracotta in some areas. Okay, then we have a dark terracotta. Sorry, I'm just concentrating on where I need to put it, just to add a little more color to it. Okay. Throw in a little more of the ochre on top of that. Are you thinking in your head, how many more layers can she put on? Okay, turn it a little bit. Just gonna add some of that down here in the sand. Then we'll bring in some brown down there too, in the darker areas. Okay, then mid terracotta. Okay, sorry about that. I got a phone call, so always fun. What I want to do is go in and make with some black, just deepen some of these areas here so they look like they're farther back. And it does nicely over the colors that I had previously put down. I'm not going over it really heavy. Down here at the bottom, I'll put a little more pressure and then lighten it as I go up. You can mix this in with the I was trying to do that black-brown to give it a brown effect, since we're doing kind of a, I don't know, what do you, made out of sandstone or something. And dusty rocks and such. Anyway, we're going to get these guys a bench to sit on, darken their feet up a little bit because they're recessed. Just bring that up their legs a little bit. This is the black-brown. Darken the corners back here. I also noticed this video is getting pretty long. So what I'm going to do is stop it now. This comes up here. Putting the dark brown over the reds and the terracottas we put in here. Just kind of gives it a little more depth too. And there's a lot of playing around that goes with this. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now, and then we'll come back and do part 3. And I need to, let's get you up so you can see the picture so far. I need to do the rocks. We have trees in here, so those have to be done also. I might add in some white in some of these areas, but I will probably paint those in with a paintbrush. I have, I think, somewhere on my, in my desk, somewhere, one of these drawers, a thing of Distress Stain, which is one of the line of the Distress inks. They come in sprays, stains, paints, inks, oxides. I think I'm getting them all. Anyway, Picket Fence is the white color. Now, I never did ever pick up the Picket Fence in an ink form because, I mean, when I was buying all my ink supplies, I was doing cards, and white ink on a white cardstock didn't make sense to me when I bought these. I do have a white ink I bought to make snowflakes, and found that that brand that I bought was kind of not the best. And instead of doing that, just got the embossing inks for white stuff, and would put the embossing ink down and then put a powder on top of it, a white powder, and melt it, and you would have crisp, clean white snowflakes. So card making wasn't necessary to have white ink, is what I'm getting at, going down a rabbit hole. Posca pens are fine, you can use those, but I really kind of wanted to stay with the I'm painting with ink on this series. So I'll try to find that before part 3, and I will get back and we will finish that. Finish the little pieces down here, and then we do have to put in a background. And I haven't finished his earrings or anything either, so we got a lot of work yet. See you in part 3. I hope you guys are enjoying, and take care, everyone. Have a great day. Bye now.